whenever you...
I'm in my earring.
Why did you do that?
Just trying- Hi, and welcome to Game and Read. It is our first checkpoint video of 2016, and we're back to inform you about what we're reading and playing and our thoughts on them.
Before we do that, we are going to announce our next theme. Our next episode theme is Detectives with Hats.
Detectives with Hats.
Peter will be reading The Hound of the Baskervilles by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. That's a Sherlock Holmes book.
The fifth one.
And I will be playing Professor Layton and the Curious Village on my 2DS. So look for that episode next week. We're super excited. It's a really fun one.
So, over the past few weeks during our trip to Austin, I got a lot of time to play some games. I played all of Metroid Fusion for the Game Boy Advance. Yeah, it was a lot of fun overall. I'd never actually completed a Metroid game yet. It was on my bucket list of game things to do, and I think I picked a good one because it's not super intense, it's not super long. It only took me about 7 hours on my save file to clear it. It was plenty tough for somebody as inexperienced as me, but it was fun throughout it. It never felt super impossible. Even the really tough ones that took me multiple digits, double-digit tries, I always found myself getting a little bit better, even after having looked through a couple of walkthroughs and a video like, oh, that's how I beat that person. It was really fun overall. I gave it probably like a 3.5 stars just because it was fun. Probably could have been a bit better. Would have liked if it was a smidge easier, or at least had an option of that. But really a good Game Boy Advance game from like 2004.
Cool.
Thumbs up to that. I also have been playing a lot of Rocket League. I'm not going to mention much about that because it's basically online car soccer on the PS4.
Peter loves Rocket League.
I do. It's a lot of fun. It's some people like to go play first-person shooters online a lot. I just like to just be a little car and just dive into soccer balls. It's a ton of fun. If you have a PS4 or PC that can play it, check it out. It's definitely worth the amount of money unless you hate enjoyable, cute games.
Who hates enjoyable, cute games?
Terrible people.
Don't be a terrible person. Play Rocket League.
I've been playing a couple other things too. I downloaded Final Fantasy VII on my PS4 recently. Never played Final Fantasy VII. My first Final Fantasy game was 10 on the PlayStation 2. And I'm worried because there's so much hype behind like, oh, Final Fantasy VII, it's so memorable, blah, blah, blah. And I'm personally worried that's going to be mainly just the people who played it back then or at some point around then who were really wowed by it. I think it's alright so far. It's not a bad game. It's a pretty good Final Fantasy game. It hasn't hit me in that really, super memorable among other things other than just for how popular it is kind of way. I think if I had played it in 97 when I was 5 years old, probably would have thought it was super cool.
You would have been a genius baby.
I know, I actually do remember, I think I played this game at like a demo stand in a Target a couple times, because I remember a dude with a giant sword. Not 100% sure, but it seems very similar. I'm pretty sure I played a demo of this at some
You're
point.
apparently a genius 5-year-old.
I just click X and then he hit stuff with his sword.
Okay, maybe not so genius.
Yep, I was the best. Couple other things I've been playing through some of Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch for the PS3. I've had it for a long time, finally got around to playing it just before we left for Texas. Got to pick it back up and get going on it. I think that about wraps up all my games, so pass it over to Erin for her books.
I have lots in book news this checkpoint. The first is my 2016 reading goals. I have made my Goodreads challenge. I'm challenging myself to read 100 books this year. I completed 2015 with 84 books, I think was my last count, 84 or 87. And so I can totally do 100 this year. I'll be graduating from my degree program in May, so I'll be working a real job, but I'll also not be doing homework. So more time to read. Super exciting. I'm excited to hit that goal. The other reading challenge, reading goal I've given myself this year is to participate in the Book Riot Read Harder Challenge. I listen to a lot of Book Riot podcasts, and I have heard them talk about this for a while, and I decided, why not participate in this year's challenge. It's 24 books and they are all diversely categorized. So there's things like read a horror, read a nonfiction book about science, read a play, read something more than 500 pages and less than 100, read something by a person of color, all kinds of things to help you read diversely and read things you might not have picked up. So I'm really excited to do that. I'll be posting updates on my Read Harder progress over at gameandread.com. That's where you can also find all the books that I finished in December. I'm not going to go over them here. There were a lot because we were on vacation. I read a lot. Go over there and check them out. I am going to share the books that I have so far finished in 2016. There are 4 of them. The first book I read this year and finished was I Crawl Through It by A.S. King. I read Gloria O'Brien's History of the Future, I think that's what it's called, and really liked it. It's really weird, very strange. I Crawl Through It was exactly the same way. Very weird, very strange. It was good. It was an experience. So I gave that 3 out of 5 stars. I also completed Yes Please by Amy Poehler. I listened to that on audiobook and it was phenomenal, amazing. 5 stars out of 5 stars. I loved the experience of listening to Amy Poehler read her book. It was just a phenomenal, all-around great thing. So if you haven't read Yes Please, or if you've read it but you haven't listened to it, I highly recommend checking out the audiobook of Yes Please by Amy Poehler.
I listened to it too. It was really a good book, especially if you're familiar with her work on SNL, Parks and Rec, especially more interested in her earlier stuff when she was helping found, the UCB Theater, which is in several different cities and a pretty big school of improv and comedy now.
Yeah, it's really awesome, so go check that out. I also read and finished Lumberjanes Volume 2. I gave that 4 out of 5 stars. That's a really fun comic. It is fantastic art, great story, follows these 5 girls who are at summer camp and weird things happen, and it's just really great. Go read it, check it out. Read Volume 1 first, obviously, and then go read Volume 2. And the last book I have finished so far in my 2016 is The Heart Goes Last by Margaret Atwood. I had this book on hold for weeks before I finally got it, and it was really good. I had never read a Margaret Atwood before. This was the first time reading one of her books, and I loved it. I really love dystopian books. The characters were okay. I didn't love the characters. I didn't love the way that the book ended, but overall it was a really fun read. I gave that one 3 out of 5 stars. So that's what I finished so far in 2016. In other book news, I will be participating in the 24 and 48 Readathon.
First Readathon of the year.
Yeah! I heard about this readathon on the All the Books podcast from Brook Riot. And basically the idea is that you spend, ideally, 24 of your 48 hours over the weekend reading. So this coming weekend, January 16th and 17th. This weekend is also Martin Luther King Jr. weekend, which is a long weekend. So I'm really excited to spend the weekend reading. I love reading, and a readathon is a great way to read a lot and not feel guilty or like you're neglecting other things.
Like me.
Oh, I don't neglect you. You play your Rocket League. So if you want to sign up for the 24 and 48 readathon, you can go over to 24and48.com and sign up there. I will be tweeting throughout my reading and posting updates on the blog, so go check all of that out this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. That's all I have.
Yeah, that's all I have too. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time.
And you can check out all of our content and videos jumping the gun there, Aaron. You can check out all of our content and videos
Whoops.
at gameandread.com.
And follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, you can do that because I'm at Nerd in the World.
And I'm at Emerge.
Yeah, so go check those out.
And we will see you next time.
Aaron didn't want to plug it, but I forced it. Bye.